Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have my good friend Jimmy Nuts here today. We're doing the Mid-Year Freakout tag together. Hey Jimmy, how's it going?
I'm lean. I'm mean. I'm about as tan as I could be. It's the Friday Night Delight making his way over here at the twilight of a Tuesday night with just one thing and one thing only to say, Joanna, and that's thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's kind of embarrassing too because I'm the one who's Hispanic and you're far more tan than I am.
I am much more tan than you.
I need to work on that. But it is a pleasure to have the Friday Night Delight on a Tuesday night here on my channel to do the Mid-Year Freakout tag. So I love this tag, everybody. You do not have to be tagged to do the Mid-Year Freakout tag. And we're just so happy to have you all here in the chat. I am likely to get behind in the chat tonight, especially as we're answering questions. But we invite you to add your own answers to these tag questions in the chat if you feel inclined, because I'm excited to hear. I'm excited to hear how Jimmy's year has been so far. And of course, I've been watching his wrap-ups, and I am excited to hear what you all think. Yeah, I can't believe it's July too, Jerry. It's crazy. So yes, tags are so much fun, and they're so much fun live, especially. Hi, Noelle. So hello, everybody. Again, I'm sorry if I am unable to keep up with the chat, but it really is wonderful to see you all here. And I apologize about the delay. I had some major Wi-Fi issues within the last hour that my husband quickly tried to resolve. So that's why we're starting late. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this started. So I'm going to go ahead, and before we begin, Jimmy, how has your reading year been so far?
You know, I don't really reflect much on the year until like the end. So doing this mid-year freakout tag, which by the way, I actually really like this tag. I like tags in general, but I feel like this one's like one of the better ones. So looking back, I would say that pretty much everything I have read has been like fine. There's been like maybe not even a handful, but like a couple books that have really like stood out. But almost all of them are standing out for like different reasons. And as I look at the list, I will say I think it is like I don't want to say like mid, but it's like the most like I'm going to be fighting over who gets like 10th in my top 10 for the year, right? Like there's not going to be a ton of competition for that top 5. And I feel like the 5 through 10 is going to be the weakest 5 through 10 I've ever had, unless if the back half of the year changes. What about you?
Maybe not as strong as previous years. Would you say that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a lot of variety in the list, which is really cool. But I don't know. I just look and I just think, okay, that was fine. Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. Like, it's not like I hated all of it or anything, but nothing like not only a little few of them are really sticking out in memory. Also, I don't know if it happens to you. Every time I look back, I'm always like, I read that this year. That happened with like 4 books. I was like, I thought I read that last year or 2 years ago. No, it was January. So.
Oh, I've had the opposite problem. I keep on looking at books and like, oh, that was last year already. How did that happen? But yeah, as far as my reading year so far, it's been okay. I've had far more disappointments than I'm used to. Usually I'm super, super selective about the books that I pick up. And this year, there have been a few a few more misses than usual. And there have been some good books too, but it doesn't feel like it's my strongest reading year, but I have read some gems. So I'm excited to get into it with you. Let's begin with the first question, which is probably the most exciting. And again, chat, feel free to jump in if you'd like to. Best book you've read so far, Jimmy?
I feel like this should be the last question. Like I'm always like perplexed why it's one, but this one for me, I would say that there were 2 books that would have been in the front running, maybe 3. But the one I would have to give it to is The Deluge by Stephen Markley, the massive climate post-apocalyptic novel. His second book ever, I believe. I think he wrote Ohio first. And he's in Hollywood writing TV shows and such. But I think The Deluge is just the book, when I look at the list, that stands out the most for everything that it's doing. And the fact that it was like a 1,000-page book that I did not mind reading. Like, I've been very anti-large book. Yeah. But that one I loved the whole way through. And I actually think that like Markley is going to be like a pretty noted, like he'll be notable, I think, in the future. I hope he keeps writing books because he's now in Hollywood. Wow. But yeah, I think The Deluge is just fantastic. It's amazing.
That's amazing. So it's post-apocalyptic, you said. I remember hearing you talk about it a little bit,
Yeah,
environmental themes.
I shouldn't say it is considered like sci-fi post-apocalyptic, but like the apocalypse is like current, I guess. Like it's all climate issues, right? And then people trying to navigate that. And there's like a massive cast of characters, and the climate change affects them all in like very different ways. And for some people, it's the most important issue. Some people, they don't care at all. They're just looking for their next fix, or like it's just like a wide field of like reactions to what is undeniably like a changing climate that is changing the way of life around the world and making it harder to survive as a human. So it's weird to say it's post-apocalyptic because it's not like this big event and then everyone's like reacting to it like The Stand or something, but it is labeled as post-apocalyptic fiction. My honorable mentions, by the way, if I can give those,
Yeah, please
would
do.
be Windhaven by Lisa Tuttle and George R. Martin, and James by Percival Everett. Those are the other two that I was like, man, I really love those two books. But for me, The Deluge is just like kind of nothing else like it in many ways. He plays with a lot of different forms, like newspapers and stuff. It's really cool.
How did you find out about this book? Because I had not heard about it before hearing you talk about it.
So The Deluge, I found Ohio by Stephen Markley through Better Than Food, and then I read Ohio. Actually, I think even before I had read it, I recommended it to my friend Kev. He read it, he loved it, and I told him, I was like, I think you'll like this book. I've never read it, but it's Ohio. He lived in Ohio. I was like, this is gonna be perfect. He loved it. He read The Deluge, and he was like, you'll probably really like this. And then, of course, our good friend Bridger, Library Ladder, actually has talked about it before as well. So I was like, okay, this is probably something I want to do. And I loved Ohio so very much that I wanted to read something else from him. And I also did enjoy his television show that he did on Hulu that I'm already forgetting the name of. So that the finale wasn't great, unfortunately, but the rest of the show I really liked. So that's kind of how I got on my radar. It's not a super popular book by any means, but I think it's a great book.
Oh, that's cool. It sounds really fascinating. And I mean, that's saying something to be 1,000 pages and to do its work. And I like the idea that it's a deluge. I can never say that word right. And it's affecting all these different people. So it's not just environmental, but personal. So
I've been saying it wrong this whole time. I just say deluge.
Deluge. That's
is
fine.
Or is it? I don't know. It's the blue book with a rip.
We'll just go with that, deluge. Yeah. So that sounds amazing. As far as my question, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight. Actually, I'll highlight this really quickly. So I listened to Ohio. That's the same author, or no? That's a band.
No, Brian is being a boomer right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a different.
And that's a fact.
And that's a fact. There you go. Yes. So really good books in the chat. I'll highlight some of those after I give away what mine is. So mine is going to be, this is hard. I actually do have an honorable mention and maybe a tie because I'm not sure. But I'm going to go with, and I have the ugliest cover ever, Remains of the Day, by Ishiguro.
That is a hideous cover.
It is the worst cover of this
Not
book.
Good.
I'm probably going to buy a new one. I'm probably going to buy a nicer.
Very consumerist of you.
But I bought this used and it worked. It worked. This book is about an English butler. I mean, you've probably all heard Jimmy talk about this last year because it made it to his Nutties. But this book is following an English butler who, and we're following his journey as he is reflecting on his past, and he in the present timeline is no longer relevant because English butlers have become a thing of the past in the 20th century. But he's reflecting on the time when they were a thing. And it's a fascinating exploration of some of my favorite themes, which I think along the lines of Stoner, like what does it mean to lead a meaningful life, and about specifically the work-life balance. And there's just such amazing, it's just such an amazing book in terms of character voice. It pulled me in. It just did everything I needed it to from beginning to end. I loved the book so much.
Yeah.
Yes, and I can understand why you loved it too. But
yeah, I mean, it's one of the best books I've ever read. I think it has just such a ridiculously distinct voice to it. Like Stevens is embedded in my brain for probably the remainder of my life. Like Stevens would be one of the most remarkable characters I think I've read.
Yes, I agree. I'm pretty impressed because I've only read 3 Ishiguro books so far, but his character voice is so distinct for this English butler. And then it's as distinct for that as it is for an AI young girl character in Clara and the Sun.
Yeah.
And then another character in Never Let Me Go. All of his character voices seem very distinct. And it's interesting because in this book, compared to the other 2 Ishiguro books I've read, I feel like his language is more formal, as is fitting for an English butler. And at the same time, he manages to combine formality and a conversational tone. Like this is somebody honestly telling their story, or honestly according to what they think is honest. And at the same time, you get a sense that there's so much that this character is holding back. And Ishiguro is just the master of just giving you little bits of information, little at a time, to pull you along into something deeper and far more emotional than you would imagine. So yeah, that's possibly number 1. My honorable mention is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's high. I don't know because I adored Ship of Magic. And that's another book. It's not short. It's a long book, and
Big book.
it is a huge book. And I feel like I did not feel the length of it as much because I felt so pulled along by Robin Hobb's excellent prose. I mean, she just has such a flow to her writing, and I love what she does. Again, speaking of character voice, it's multi POV, and it reminds me, even though it's different than George R. R. Martin, to me they have similar strengths in the way that they're able to bring a sense of tone through each character perspective. So you're not just seeing the setting through the character perspective, but you're feeling it through what their internal conflicts that are coming and going, either in a subtle, gradual way or in like a deep, heavy way. So I was blown away by Ship of Magic. To be honest, I've struggled a bit with fantasy this year, and that was the book that made me a believer again. I thought, oh wow, I remember why I love this genre so much. So yeah, that one is maybe an honorable mention. The only thing that held it back for me a little bit is that I was not super crazy about there are certain sea serpents that have a perspective in this book, and I was not 100% into those perspectives, but
you will be.
Okay.
You will be, I think. Yeah, hearing you talk about your experience with Ship of Magic reminds me of whenever I started it, and I had a similar feeling where I was like, "Oh, I'm all in on this. This is great. Like, this is a world I can get lost in. I want to understand all the dynamics of the trading, the different families." I thought, "Oh, that was great." And I think you bring up a pretty good thing about the tone through each POV. I'm always hesitant to compare authors, but I do think that is something that they share. And possibly it's something that the editor looks for, since they shared an editor, at least at some point they did. But for me, yeah, Ship of Magic was pretty amazing and really immersive, and probably one of very few that I felt like completely immersed by, which is really great, which is one of the reasons why I like the series so much. But I think the winner of those two is fairly obvious, Joanna.
Oh yeah, I mean, Remains of the Day was really special for me. It was just such an emotional read in so many ways.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It blows me away. Like it's very much to me, like it did make me think a lot about Stoner. I know that's something you brought up in your reviews, but it really did, because of the way that I could connect so deeply to a character that's holding back so much, that you could feel so much under the surface so deeply. So
yeah,
for me, it really moved me. And I always think about that too. Like I was talking about this with Alan the other night, like just the questions of, at the end of my life, am I going to be remembered for, what am I going to be remembered for? What is going to be my contribution in my life? Is it going to be that I was this amazing employee, that I dedicated myself to my job 100%? Or is it that I was a good friend or a good wife or a good, good in more personal ways? So it's just questioning those things that, I don't know, something about those questions really pulled me into a story.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, I think Stevens actually goes a little bit further and kind of gives us a little bit of a warning about hoping that maybe you'll be remembered for your job, because they're not going to remember him and his performance in his position. They're going to remember the person that he served in the past and the decisions that his master had made. so you're not even really represented by your own work, your own body of work, right? As a butler, you're represented by the head of the household or whatever you want to. Master just sounds horrible. I hate saying it, but so maybe he had hoped to do that, but even more so, like, what are you dedicating your time to? You know, a lot of us get lost in the minutia of our jobs, like clocking in, clocking out. But you know, if you think about the entities that you're putting all this time into, 40 hours a week or more, what does that represent? Like, what does their body of work represent? And that is probably what you would be remembered for. Because I would argue that Stevens will most likely be remembered for who he served, not how he served.
Yes, I agree with you. It has so many tragic notes. I don't want to say too much, but
yeah, it's rough. Some of it's like looking in a mirror too. I think that's one of the reasons why it's really difficult.
Yes.
And I know that you did the video and I had talked to you about like Remains of the Day and Stoner. I think Stoner is the book about like being at the end of your rope and being like, hey, he was a hell of a professor. Like, that's a really noble thing. Whereas I actually think Remains of the Day is saying that, well, maybe that isn't so noble. Like maybe we should take time to smell the roses and have real experiences outside of like a dynamic that is dictated by titles and like the power structure of wherever you are. So
yes, absolutely. Anything that explores that, explores regret, it just
yeah, regret. I would imagine regret is one of the biggest fears of everyone.
Yes. And I think it's unavoidable to some extent. I think it's human that we're going to regret things at some point. So, yes, sorry for the downer of the best book of the year, but awesome. Gosh, it was so good. It was such a good book. A slammer. Okay, so really quickly, thank you, chat, for chiming in. Yes, we know Tom Orange is loving Demon Copperhead, and
good work, Tom.
Yeah, I really do need to get to The Exorcist. I've heard such phenomenal things. I've heard phenomenal things about the audiobook.
Yeah, it doesn't the author read it?
Yeah. Oh, is that true? I'm not sure.
I might have just made it up, but I think it's true.
Yeah. I read Hyperion last year. It was excellent. And then Derry says, best book to me so far is 11/22/63. Oh gosh, I love that book so much. Yeah. Yes. Amazing book. Amazing book. Yes. Blood Over Bright Haven here. And so many good answers here. So thank you all so much for chiming in. I'm sorry again that I'm not going to be able to catch up with everything here tonight, but I do appreciate you sharing your thoughts. The Scar. I do need to get to The Scar by China Miéville later this year. Yes.
It's so good.
Oh, I loved Perdido Street Station, so I'm super excited.
I think it's better than Perdido, personally. I think I just think it's a more consistent book, like all the way through. It also has some of the sickest fantasy, like world building stuff that like no one really talks about. It's so sick, dude. So good.
Yeah, that's exciting. Oh my gosh, The Name of the Rose, excellent read. Loved it. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. Yes, I'm so excited to see the Remains of the Day love here. And I do need to get to more Ishiguro. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Again, I apologize for being late to the chat. Oh, I have to highlight this really quickly. Yes, Midnight Tides. Yes, so good. All right. So next question we have here is a trickier one for me to answer a little bit, but best sequel. Have you read any sequels this year, Jimmy?
I have, Joanna, as the perpetual book one reader of BookTube. I have read many sequels this year. I mean, I was surprised. I went through. I said, "This is actually very easy." I've read quite a few, and there have been some good ones. I think I'll start with the honorable mention this time, and the honorable mention would be The Hunter by Tana French. It's the second book in her. I don't remember what the series is called, but it's after The Searcher. It's The Searcher, then The Hunter. It's a continuation of the story, and I thought the sequel was even better than the first book. And the first book won my surprise of the year in 2024. So that should tell you how much I enjoyed it. However, there was a book that I have not stopped thinking about. Maybe I think about once a week, and I only know like 2 other people have read it. So I message one of them once a month and I go, dude, how good is this world? Like, I can't stop thinking I need this third book. And that is Moon Witch Spider King by Marlon James, book 2 in the Dark Star trilogy. Very famous, or maybe infamous, for being dense, disgusting, grim, hard to follow. I mean, it has all the negative connotations that you could want out of like a hit book for the book space online, but I don't really
Mhm.
care because I thought the sequel, even though it's not perfect, I had complaints about the book, just like I had complaints about book one. But there is something about this like African, like pre Christian, like pre anything, like root of all the building being like African mythology that is just so cool and
Hmm.
new to me, obviously.
Mhm.
And I think that Marlon James, even though he can be really long winded, and there are times where I'm like, just get on with it, please. Maybe this could be a little bit more linear. Maybe it could be a little bit more chronological. At the end of the day, like it's just a wild experience. And he's definitely written two books so far in a trilogy. Hopefully, the third book comes out this year. I don't think it's going to. Uh, but he's done something that I don't think anyone else really has. Like it's completely on its own. It feels very much to me in some ways, not like actually alike, but it's the same accomplishment that China Mieville did with Baslag. Like there's nothing like Baslag. And people, there have been inspirations from Perdido, right? We've seen that all throughout the genre. I don't know if Marlon James will have quite the same influence on the genre because I don't think these books sell a ton. But I thought the sequel, in many ways, was better than book one. In some ways, not as good as book one, but all in all, very captivating and made me so excited to read book three and to figure out what the final perspective will be because each book is a different perspective of the same events. But it's not as simple as that. The Moonwitch Spider King, I was told it was basically same as book one from a different perspective. But like 75 to 80% of the book is actually a freshly new narrative of a character you meet in book one and they're like past.
Hmm.
And he just does such an amazing job of kind of painting the life that this character has lived. So I'm going on and on and on. But for me, I mean, it's not a perfect book by any means, but it has to be the best sequel because I've just been dying to have book three. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's exciting. And you're right. I don't hear many people talk about this series. I've
Oh,
seen,
people hate it.
yeah.
It has to be. Out of everything have read, I think it is the book that people hate the most that I enjoy. I would say,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's no, you don't have to love whatever the other people love. I think that's kind of fun though, to have an intimate
Oh
experience
yeah,
with a book that other
yeah.
people can pop
And
up.
I have a friend Ben who read it, and he's just as bewildered as me about some of the stuff happening. I'm sure he has complaints. Like it's an imperfect thing, but like very unique. And the fact that it's kind of cool when you bond with somebody over something like that too. Like that's really
Yeah.
special. So
Mhm.
it's kind of cool for for him and me to try to actually figure out what's happening because it's very confusing. It was just a fun time. It was great.
Ah. Well, speaking of getting together with a friend and try to figure out what's happening, my choice for book two is going to be the second half of Shadow and Claw, which is The Claw of the Conciliator by Jean Wolfe. So I buddy read this with Jake from Nerd Level Rising. He and I did a daily buddy read of this. I reached out to him because we're part of a bigger read along. Both of us I felt like we both had a very similar experience with book one, where we read it, we're like, oh, this isn't too bad. And then we got together and found out a whole bunch of things that we didn't notice on our first read. And I realized I needed to slow way down with Wolf. Like I already read slowly and I did
Yeah.
take my time with book one, but I need to go at an even slower pace. And I need to be, I thought it'd be really helpful and fun to do that daily buddy read with Jake. And it was so much fun because there were just so many different ideas we were bouncing back and forth with each other. So it was more like the reading experience was really cool. I don't know if Book of the New Sun is going to be like a favorite of all time series for me. And there are some things about the male gaze that have been very unsettling, and more so than I was expecting. More so than I was expecting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's some wild psychedelic stuff happening in this book.
Oh yeah.
This has been a trip. It's been a trip. And then it's also been interesting just, because I come from a Catholic background. I was brought up Catholic, went to Catholic school. I'm not by any means like a Catholic scholar or anything, but it's interesting to pick up on a little bit of the symbolism here and there. And I'm sure there's still a ton I'm missing. But yeah, it's been interesting. And so I guess I gotta give it to the Claw, the Conciliator. It's just a wild trip of a book though.
It is. It's a very trippy book. I loved. Is that the one with the execution scene with the chair? Is that happen in book two?
I don't think so, unless I'm forgetting it.
It might be the third. I can't remember. That's the scene in Book of the New Sun that like lives in my brain rent free. It's brutal. It's very
Yeah.
brutal. But yeah, those books, I read it very, very slowly and listened to Alzabo. I always say it wrong. Albazo Soup, the podcast with the two dudes. And I think that was one of the more unique reading experiences that I had. It was great.
Yeah. Did you have a preference between books 1 and 2, by the way?
I think I ended up liking book 2 more because you kind of get out from the one location, and I like that quite a bit. My favorite though is book 3. Book 3 it was definitely my favorite.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that. I feel like I know Jake said this in our buddy read, and I'm just going to say what he said because it's exactly how I feel. Which is that I feel like book 1 had higher highs and lower lows for me, but then book 2, it seemed a little more even in the experience for me, but it also had just some really unique reveals, like wild reveals in this book and some trippy stuff. So, yeah, maybe I am higher on book 2, to be honest.
Yeah,
I,
for me, I just felt like I was reading them all almost as one big book. So I get a lot of the events mixed up from like which it actually came from.
that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. It's a really challenging read, though.
Mhm.
It took a lot. I mean, it took a heavy cognitive load out of me every day, but
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah. Hello, Bookish. Great to see you here.
What's up, man?
And yeah. Uh,
Well, Bookish is gonna like one of my answers in a little bit. I know that
oh,
for a fact. Yeah.
yay. So I tried Book of the New Sun and my mind was too burned out to enjoy it. I want to read it so bad. I was missing out on all the cues. Really easy to do, really difficult book. Definitely not easy reading by any means. Uh, yeah. So best sequel, I'm going to say The Book of Levi by John Conroe. I don't know that. Book 16.5 of the Demon Accords.
Book 16.5 is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild.
I've never heard of that.
Very
Interesting.
cool.
Cool. Uh, let's see what Beltube is saying. If I could professionally wrestle, that might be my finisher.
Claw.
The
Yeah,
claw.
we could. Von Erichs.
Nice. All right. So question 3. Okay, these new release questions are going to be challenging for me.
I had to do some googling. I'm not gonna lie to you, Joanna. And we should let people know that this question it does not include ones that have not come out. That's the next question. The
Oh,
next
that's
question.
true.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
I answered this and then I had to like go back because it was something that hadn't came out yet. But mine, there's not a ton of stuff that's come out this year so far that like I think if it did, I already read it. But I'm honorable mention is Written on the Dark by Guy Gavriel Kay.
That's going to be my answer.
Yeah, that's my honorable mention. Number 1 is actually Grave Empire by Richard Swan. I would really like to see how he's grown as an author since his first trilogy. And of course, it has all of the crazy horror elements that I really, really like. So I would like to get that at some point. It probably won't be this year.
Ah, yeah. I mean, the only answer I have is Written on the Dark by Guy Gavriel Kay. But I've
Mhm.
also just been the worst about keeping up with new releases. I typically am, to be honest. But that one does appeal to me for sure. Any K book does. I would love at some point to get through all of the GGK books. Would love to do that. Is that a name of yours as well?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't know. I feel like I would like to read all Guy Gavriel Kay's books, but there's so many. Like there's like there's too many. Benavar doesn't really interest me as much as some of his others. But have you heard much about Written on the Dark? I've heard it's pretty good, but I haven't heard anyone like freak out and say it's the best GGK yet.
The one person I heard talk about it was Andy Smith. And by the way,
Oh,
everyone,
Andy.
if you're not subscribed to Andy Smith, go subscribe. He's awesome and he's back. But yeah, he did a fantastic review of it in his wrap up. He made it sound like a beautiful story. It sounded slightly existential, but nostalgic and beautiful. All the good things that you
Okay.
imagine with Kay. So
Okay. Very cool.
yeah, it sounded like something I would love, the way you described it. But then again, I've also heard from various K readers that it's probably not his best work, but it's still worth reading. So, I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that. So,
Can I amend my answer?
sure.
Mitch is in the chat and he said Grave Empire over the Rose of Jericho. I forgot Rose of Jericho came out this year, Mitch. I thought, and I completely blanked. My answer is absolutely the Rose of Jericho. Never mind. It is Rose of Jericho by Alex Agressian. It's a sequel to Red Rabbit, though technically it's not a sequel, but it is a sequel, I guess. But the answer actually, I forgot it was a new release this year. It's 100% Rose of Jericho, and I will read that this year for sure.
Oh, I remember you talking about that Red Rabbit book, the horror Western. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And Rose of Jericho, it literally came out 2 days, I think, after I finished Red Rabbit. So I blanked on it, but that is actually my answer. I'm amending. This is why it's nice doing this live, because if I had published this as a normal video, I wouldn't be able to amend. I would have to put a little pinned comment that no one's gonna read. Thanks,
I always feel that way. I'm like, dang it, pinned comment. But yeah, when it's too late, it's too late. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. I mean, I'm glad that you put that on my radar because it sounds unique, a Western horror type of vibe going on. That sounds really interesting.
Oh yeah, and Rose of Jericho is actually in a different time period. It's like the Salem witch trial time.
Ooh, neat.
In New England. Yeah, yeah. It sounds so good because I love the Witch by Robert Eggers. Is that his name? Roger Eggers. I don't know. I don't know anybody in Hollywood. Anyways, I love the movie The Witch, and people said that this was kind of similar to it, so I think I love it.
Nice. Okay, cool. Jerry here is saying Laura's Forgotten Dawn.
Sure, yeah.
That's right. Shout out to Laura and Jay Kristoff's Last Empire book when it releases. Okay. I think we're still on, though. There's a different one that we need to get to that is a different one anticipated in the second half. And so
it's easy.
Is it going to be the God is Not Willing sequel?
No Life Forsaken. Yep.
Yes. No Life Forsaken. Yeah. So excited.
I feel like I'm like under excited. Like I should be more excited, but like it's just one of the, like I didn't even realize it was coming out this year till like maybe a month ago.
Yes.
Because the cover art came out and people were talking about like, yeah, it comes out this year, and I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like extremely excited for it. Like very excited for it.
I want to reread the first book. And yeah, because I took my time with it. I remember I read it physically. I think I want to reread it via audio. So
the audio was good. There's a female narrator. I can't remember who, but I remember liking the audio pretty well. It's only 500 page book, but it did take me a bit to get through. I've seen people say it's some of their favorite Malazan. I've seen people say it's, it didn't have the same magic, but for me, I thought it took a lot of the best parts of Malazan for myself and boiled them down to a much like tighter, smaller narrative. And I love that.
Yeah. I thought it was fun. I loved Stillwater. I think that's the female character.
Stillwater and Rant, right?
Oh yeah, Rant. I just love the female friendship in it, and it had a lot of good comic moments, but dramatic moments. So I need to get back to it. I definitely want to reread that.
I'd like to pretend I'm going to reread it, but I'll probably just watch a discussion on it to refresh my memory.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that'll be what I do, more than likely.
That's smart. Maybe I'll do that too. Jenny Wirtz is in the chat and said that she just finished Philip Chase's newest today, which I failed to mention because Alan made me promise to wait till his audiobook comes out for that.
I don't know if I'll keep that promise, but I also promised. I read the first chapter though when we got it, and I thought it was the best thing I've read from Philip. I loved it. So it was excellent, and that's definitely a new release that we could be excited about. So
yes, it definitely applies. I feel embarrassed that I didn't mention it. So Philip's book. And let's see, does anybody else have any other? I answered the previous question. I answered
Doors of Stone. Someone said Doors of Stone.
Doors of Stone.
It's not coming out.
Is that King Killer?
Yeah. I wish it'd be cool.
Yeah, cool. Let's see.
It's not impossible.
My pick is Everybody Wants to Rule the World Except Me. I don't know. Wexler. Okay. Cool. All right. And then the next one is, oh goodness, Biggest Disappointment. Yikes.
So this one was a little hard for me. Like I had to really like kind of like, okay, well, which one is it? I really didn't have a huge disappointment. I just read Prophet Song by Paul Lynch.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I think I came across like I was more disappointed than I really was. It was just like I was kind of expecting it to be like maybe a book of the year contender. And it turned out to be like more like a 3.5-star read for me with a message that is undeniably important and very valid today. Uh, so that kind of crossed my mind. But I think if I had to pick one, just being like, what book was I expecting the most from? It was probably The Etched City by KJ Bishop. This is an author who gets compared to China Mieville quite a bit. The writing was gorgeous,
Hmm.
beautiful writing, loved it. I could not, and some of the world building stuff was really good. I mean, she really attacks all of your senses, like will fill it all up, and it is kind of mesmerizing in some parts. But overall, it never really came together for me. Like
Oh.
the further I got into it, the more I was like, "Oh no, this isn't working. This isn't working." And there was some cool character stuff in there too. Like I like the one POV of a pastor who is actually, of course, a very bad person, but that pastor was having like philosophical, like God debates with someone else that was from a different perspective. And while some of it felt like pretty elementary, like anybody who's ever had like a discussion about any kind of theology could probably have had these conversations. I thought that the scene around it was really cool. So there's a lot to like there, but I was expecting like China Mieville, like this is going to be like top 5 books of the year. I've been kind of excited for it for quite a bit. And 2 of my good friends love the book. So that also always feels bad whenever you don't love what they love. But for me, it was probably The Etched City, which I would assume maybe 10 people here who have heard of. It's
Hmm.
not very popular. I believe it's KJ Bishop's only book. She has another short story collection that I've heard is just as bizarre. So
Um,
yeah.
oh. Yeah, gosh, that sounds disappointing because it sounds like all the right elements were there, but it just
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
come together.
You honestly might like it a lot. I could see you maybe getting into it because it goes into art.
Oh,
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think KJ Bishop stopped writing and she became a sculptor.
interesting.
And sculpting is really, really big in the world. Like art in general is really, really big. And it's very, I would say, I would call it like LSD fantasy. Yeah, yeah, honestly, that's what it felt like. So you could like it. I would like for well, I know how much you like dropping acid, Joanna. Uh, but for anybody that likes the weird, right? Like that weird genre,
Mhm.
it's worth trying. It's like 300 pages or something. Like it's pretty short. So
I mean, because well, honestly, that was something that I greatly admired about China Miéville, is not only was he able to describe the weird and have such a gift for his writing and his description, but also he brought the story together in such a clever way. It felt like he kept a momentum going and was able to plot things
yeah.
out really well. So I don't know, it was just amazing. It was brilliant to me how imaginative it was, while at the same time cohesive. I
Yeah,
think the combination of those 2 things is really difficult and rare.
yeah, I think that's the problem I have with Etch City is I think that it lacked a bit of that entertainment factor for me, and it definitely was not like plot driven, which is fine. Like I
Yeah.
read stuff that's not plot driven all the time, but it just that the total package just didn't come together. I do understand why people could compare it to China Mieville though, and I'm telling if any of you have had by chance heard of Etch City and you want to try it, you should try it. Like don't trust me. You should go have your own experience. And honestly, Joanna, I would love for you to read it too. I think it'd be really interesting to hear
Okay.
your thoughts.
Well, I might do that. I don't know. Biggest disappointment for me, this is ooh, I've had a few. But I guess I would have to go with an answer that'll be a lot very obvious to a lot of people right now, and it would be Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. I speaking of a book that your friend loved, oh no. See, this is the disappointing factor is you want to love the books that your friends love. And Jimmy and I, we align on so many books. So this is actually kind of a rare one where I feel a little bit differently than Jimmy. Lights went off and everything. Oh, can I pick a different one? Is it too late? Dang it. I'm in the dark here. Well, it's dark here. Wow. Yeah, so Wall of Storms by Ken Liu would be my most disappointing choice because I loved Grace of Kings. I also loved The Paper Menagerie.
You were saying?
Yeah, I was just saying that I loved Grace of Kings. I loved The Paper Menagerie. And sadly, Wall of Storms lost its luster for me. I feel so sad to say that. It's not going to be the end of my journey with Ken Liu. I certainly am interested in picking up other books by him, which, by the way, he has another book that's coming out later this year when we're talking about later releases. I don't know. I've heard mixed things about what that's about, but I have enjoyed his writing, and I think there are certainly good things to say about Wall of Storms. But yes, I sadly was disappointed with the direction of that. It did not work for me personally. I'm sad to say. There were other disappointments. I guess I'll say another one as a runner-up. Gosh, there are so many. This is like the one year where I might have enough disappointing reads to call to like rationalize doing a disappointments video. I'm not sure. But another one I'm going to go ahead and bring up is sadly City of Thieves, which is by what's his name? The author.
Benioff.
Yes, Benioff. So that book, I know it was recommended to you recently as a palate cleanser, and actually I could see it being a good palate cleanser, and I would be curious to hear your thoughts. You might actually really love it.
I bought it.
Oh,
Samwise actually super chatted money, so I would go buy it. So I bought
that
it.
was extremely generous of him.
Very kind. Yeah.
Very, very kind of him, and I hope you love it. So I will say the reason why I think this was a disappointing read for me is because I loved the first half of that book. I was all in. I was audiobooking and reading with my eyes, like immersion reading it, and I could see everything like a movie in my mind. Like I could see it so clearly. I was invested. This is a book that follows a couple of it follows a Jewish boy and a Russian runaway soldier during World War II in Russia. And they're put on this crazy task to go and they're basically put on this very crazy task. And it just to cross enemy lines. It's I won't give away more than that because I think it's better to go in the book and not know as much. But I was really invested for the first half, but then the second half, I hated the way it ended. I hated the plot conveniences in this book. And I always say, people are tired of hearing me say, I'm not all about the plot, which is kind of true. But in this case, I thought it was like cheap tricks to me. Like I felt like it was just cheap tricks. I didn't like it at all. I really soured on it. I was really disappointed. Kind of like end of Game of Thrones show.
I was
So
gonna
yeah,
say it. I was maybe gonna try to make a link between the two, but
definitely.
you are the first person I've ever heard say anything negative about that book. I always like hearing the other side of things. So
I think I have an unpopular opinion about it because most people it has like an over 4 average rating stars on Goodreads, so pretty
yeah,
popular.
what's that even mean?
Yeah.
What does that really mean?
Yeah. I feel like how do I put it? I mean, it's like when you see the author's hand and like, I'm gonna pull at your strings, your emotions by doing this, but it just felt like I said, it felt like cheap tricks in my mind. Like, really? You're gonna do that? Like that's ridiculous. It's hard to talk about it without spoilers,
This
but
hater era of Joanna is very enjoyable, even whenever some of my favorites in the crosshairs. I like the energy you're bringing. Hating
yeah.
all 2025. Love it.
But thank you. But again, I would be curious to hear your thoughts, and I can understand why Sam recommended it to you as a palate cleanser because it was serving that purpose for me, at least for the first half. So yeah, politely hating. That's what I try to do. So next,
Bookish said he worked front stage security for a Cheap Trick concert once. Also, I don't know if you saw Mitch's comment, but he said Ken Liu said he wrote Wall of Storms in such a way that one's enjoyment would parallel their own moral compass and inherent goodness.
oh wow,
I mean, obviously, Ken Liu didn't actually say that, but Mitch.
goodness.
Oh man.
It's Philip says that you convinced him to DNF Dandelion Dynasty.
Oh yeah, for the things that he doesn't like about it,
Mhm.
those things are only going to keep happening more and more and more.
Mm,
If you don't like Wall Storms, I mean, I don't think that there's much hope.
yeah. Well, he agrees that he felt the same way. It was his biggest
Yeah.
because I think we both really wanted to love it. So, yeah. Hello, Gavin. Gavin is in the chat. Thank you. All right. So, next up, let's go to the next question. So, that was biggest disappointment. And the next one is biggest surprise.
This one's pretty easy for me. It's Red Rabbit by Alex Grecian, for sure. Just Western paranormal horror.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I thought it played with afterlife and like the paranormal aspects better than anything else I've ever read. And it
Mm.
was so fun to read. I didn't dislike any of it, I don't think. And if I did, I've half forgotten about it by now. And I'm really excited to read more from this author. I've heard that some of his earlier stuff, he has I think it's like based in England, maybe like a Jack the Ripper series or something. I might be getting that completely wrong, but it's definitely based in England. And I was like, oh, I'm going to read all those. And I had some people tell me, maybe just read his newer stuff. Like he's grown as an author. So Red Rabbit, and I hope to read Rose of Jericho. If I had a runner up for this, it would have been Windhaven. Obviously, George R. R. Martin's like my favorite writer of all time. Lisa Tuttle, I've only heard amazing things about, but I did not expect a collection of 3 novellas that were stitched together as a story. I did not expect it for me to feel like it hit every single note of like what I love about fantasy. So, I mean, to me, that's a quintessential fantasy. Like it's 5 stars. Like I thought
Okay.
it was phenomenal. So that was kind of a surprise, but like how surprised should I have really been? I'm not sure. But yeah, Red Rabbit.
Oh, wow. So I need to get to both of those because they both sound
Oh,
awesome.
you will love Windhaven.
I'm sure I would.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm
It's
sure I
absurdly
would.
good.
Yes. I think for this one, this is a challenge because I think there's a couple of books I could go with, but I'm going to go with I Who Have Never Known Men. And I'm
Ooh.
failing to remember the author's name. I apologize. I should have brought it off my shelf.
Very sexist of you.
It's amazing though. I mean, I don't want to overhype it, but I just wasn't expecting what I was expecting. I'll put it that way. I think
Jacqueline Harpman.
it is a post-apocalyptic fiction, and the story does not go in the direction I was expecting it to go. And I thought it was extremely clever because we're in this bunker, we're in this young girl's perspective, locked in a bunker with I think 30 other women, and she has no memory of life before the bunker. Whereas the other women remember their lives before that. They remember cars and shopping centers or their family. They don't have any of that when they're locked there. And this young girl is trying to explore. We're exploring her identity. Who is she? And what does it mean to be a woman when you don't have the outside world and society as we know it to define that for you? And it's not only an exploration, in my opinion, of what it means to be a woman. I found the story went deeper than that. To me, it went into what does it mean to be human and the role of community and the role of that. And also, I felt like the story, I think what I said in my review is I felt like the story had this interesting juxtaposition between nihilism and existentialism, which I found so cool. I mean, existentialism is kind of a buzzword for me, honestly. It has become one.
Me too.
But the way that the story explored those two, it was very clever. I thought it had a lot of clever things going on. It's not a hard read, and it's fairly short. And it does have a very open ending too. So I think you have to be okay with that, which I certainly am. But I think there's a lot there. I really want to go back and do a deeper reading of the book and unpack it more because I think there's more there than I even noticed as a first time reader. And I think you would like it, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I won't say it's like going to be a favorite of all time, but I think you'll really like it a lot.
I'm expecting it to be a favorite of all time.
I hope so.
And it might be an answer to one of my later questions. Just saying. It might be.
I hope you like it. I really hope you like it. But I did think of you.
I've had more people, I would say for like post-apocalyptic, that's probably the #1 recommended post-apocalyptic book that people send to me. Like they're like, you should read this next. So it's going to happen.
I mean, I heard one reviewer say it didn't go deep enough. And I'm like, well, I thought it did, but okay. I mean, I can understand if you thought that. So I feel, I don't know. I can understand some people maybe not taking as much away from the book or finding it just okay. But for me, I was, like I said, I guess because I didn't know where it was going, and I
Yeah.
thought the way it explored its themes was really clever, was just different than what I've seen before.
Yeah.
So for me, I thought it was really neat. I
I
loved
guess it
it.
all depends on how you approach it and whatever, because like Ishiguro also gets criticized for not going deep enough on certain things. And I'm always thinking in my head, like, oh, I thought it was tremendously deep because I thought about it so long. But some people want like a more intentional approach.
That's
Like,
true.
so it all depends.
Yes, I'm not trying to invalidate those criticisms. I feel like people say that about Claire Keegan too, and I feel like I adore Claire Keegan's writing.
I've
So
only
yeah,
read one and quite enjoyed Eau Claire. She's pretty
was it
great.
Foster? Was that the one you read?
Yes,
Ah,
I
so
think.
good.
Right? Yeah, I
Girl.
read Foster. Yeah, I read
Yeah,
Foster. Yeah, not small
yeah,
things like these. Yeah,
yeah.
Foster was phenomenal. Very
It
good.
Foster is phenomenal. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people consider that better than Small Things, though I loved Small Things as well.
Hmm,
Yes.
very cool.
Okay, and some people read read too much philosophy, and they just want novels to be a philosophy book. Okay. Talking Story is here. Hi, Ton. My biggest surprise, how late I am. Now I got to catch up. It's good to see you. Uh, yeah. So next question is going to be favorite new author debut or new to you.
Easy. Percival Everett. It's not close.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not close. I've read. So what did I read? I read Erasure and James, and both are 5-star books to me. And I think I own at least 6 of his other books, and I'm gonna continue to read him until he doesn't have any books left for me to read. And I think that it's not even close. Definitely the best new author to me.
Oh, that's amazing. I have the audiobook of The Trees. I think it's free on Audible right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then my library has the ebook, so I've been trying to time things out when I have space, which doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. I'm so behind on my reading plans, but I would love to get to The Trees before the end of the year if that's possible. I don't know if it'll happen, but yeah, I've heard great things. I've heard the great things actually from Bookish about starting with The Trees.
He's the one who put me on to Percival Everett. I had never heard of Percival Everett. Obviously, has gained a lot of popularity in the last 365 days, but before that, Bookish had come on Chatting with Nuts, and he had made videos about Percival Everett,
Yes.
and just hearing him talk about his books with such passion and interest, I was like, okay, I have to give it a shot. And James was so good. It was so good. And Erasure was also amazing. And Erasure is not on on paper. If you read the description to me, is not something that sounds like I would like jump to. But there's just a amount of like anger in Percival Everett's books, balanced out by like cynicism and humor,
Mm.
that is just really refreshing, and still finds like rays of optimism through people. And it's usually in spite of the POV's sense of like right and wrong. He's very special. He's great.
Mm. That's cool. Yeah. Let's see. Britton says here, Terry Pratchett, perhaps. Guards. Yes. Hoping to
Awesome.
get some Men at Arms soon. Fantastic. Yes. I've read both Guards, and Men at Arms, and I still haven't continued City Watch. I need to.
I just ordered Men at Arms because I just read Guards, and I feel like I got a little bit of a Discworld bug in me now. I'm
Yeah, it's a good book, huh?
Yeah, and like I said, I like the death novels more, both of them, than Guards. But there's something about, maybe it was like the more fantasy elements, there being a dragon and stuff. I don't know. I want to
Yeah.
get more into Discworld, I think.
Yes. I love how, oh goodness, I'm forgetting her name. The female character in Guards.
Oh, the Patrician?
No, no, the female character, the Sam Vine's
Oh, not the Patrician.
love interest.
No, I'm not the Patrician.
I can't think of her name.
Derry's in the chat. Derry knows.
Terry will think of it. I just like how she's like Lady Sybil.
Lady
Thank
Sybil.
you.
Yeah, Lady Sybil.
How
I don't
Lady
know why.
Sybil is described as like a Wagnerian soprano or something like that. I just thought that was fun, fun little detail about her. Yeah, so a lot of fun. Guards. I laughed out loud when I was reading that. Yeah, I would love to join the Everett bandwagon at some point.
Plenty of room. Jump on.
Yeah, I do need to at some point. Yeah. So favorite new author debut or new to you? I am gonna go with Lois McMaster Bujold. Yay!
Oh, what a book. What a
I
book.
know, it's so good.
And I think it's better in time with time. Because when I read it, I was like, that was a solid book. I understand why people like Bejeweled. And ever since then, I've been like, that might have been a perfect book.
Yeah.
It might have been perfect. Yeah.
Yes, I loved this book. I was impressed with with Kaz, the veteran character that we're following. So older character, mentor character, really cool magic. Um,
Mhm.
really well told. I love the way she started this story too. She did an amazing job with a fan. I mean, essentially, this is a fantasy standalone. I know it's part of a series, but it could be read as a standalone.
Mhm.
But the way she unfolded the world of the five gods little by little through, it's just so well done. It was so well done. So
Mhm.
yes, this was a huge highlight for me this year. And I read a couple of other novellas from her in the Penrick novellas, Penrick's Demon and Penrick and the Shaman. And those are cute little palate cleansers. I mean, they're fun. It's about a guy being possessed by a demon. And
Oh,
it turns out that the
very
demon,
cute.
it is kind of cute though, because Penrick is just so endearing. So I do enjoy her writing. I like her humor too. It's not the kind of humor that makes me laugh out loud. Like I distinctly remember laughing, chuckling out loud several times when I was reading Guards. Her humor doesn't necessarily make me laugh out loud, but it always just makes me like bloom a smile on my face. Like it just tickles me a little bit. So I've enjoyed Bejeweled writing quite a bit. I know I need to get to her sci-fi. It's been highly recommended several times, but fantastic writer.
Yeah, I've been looking at my copy of Paladin of Souls pretty intensely for like the last 3 weeks, and I would like to get to that sooner rather than later. And also, obviously, all of her sci-fi stuff.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Paladin of Souls is the second book in the Five Gods series. I've
Yes,
heard great things about it too. So
that's usually people's favorite. I shouldn't say that. The people I know, that's usually their favorite.
yes. Um, yes, Desdemona. I wonder. I'm guessing that so that's the name of the demon that possesses Henrik, and that's also the name of the character in Othello by Shakespeare. Is the love interest is
Oh,
Desdemona? Yeah. So I
very
don't.
cool.
I'm guessing she took the name or that Bujold took the name from Othello. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm assuming, but it's pretty cool. And Bujold's
Yeah.
Miles, and I'll never say this right. I'm sorry. Volks Vorkozigon. I should practice
For
that.
Kozigi again, bit
Right.
clear
Okay.
Keegan.
Is a fabulously drawn character. I know I definitely want to get to her sci-fi at some point. I've heard phenomenal
Yeah.
things about that series.
Yeah, I've exactly what Jandy's saying here. I've just heard that it's an excellent portrayal of a character that you get to read a bunch of stories with, and it will just grow on you even more over time. So yeah, I feel like Bejeweled, if I had to like put some money like on DraftKings with a parlay, to cap it off, like a 6-legger parlay, it would probably be like the Bejeweled is going to end up being in my top 10 favorite authors, even though I've only read one book from her. Like, that's just my feeling. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's going to be the truth.
There can always be room for errors with these predictions, but
Oh,
so far,
yeah,
great start with Bejeweled. Great
sure.
start. Yeah, absolutely. It does seem like an intimidating series. I think all her series, it seems like she's an incredibly prolific writer, so, which is always a little intimidating, but it's also exciting too.
Yeah, and, her last novel, what was it, 2018 or something? Like, she's still writing relatively
Amazing. Wow.
recent. I might be thinking of somebody else. Don't quote me on that, folks.
No, I think you might be right. I think she might be still writing. Um, So Doug says, I'd recommend starting Varco Sagan with The Warrior's Apprentice. Okay. And treat the two Cordelia Naismith books as prequels to read later. Good to know. Good to know. And Matt says he's only read Shards of Honor, but it was enjoyable. And David Seaworth here says, I'm catching up, was gone for a bit. Warning to those interested in Written in the Dark, it's allegedly a standalone, but you should avoid the epilogue if it's your first GGK. Yeah, that's a good point. Because some
Interesting.
books do work in sequence with one another. I could see that being the case.
I've read like what 4 GGK, so maybe I'll be okay.
Yeah, I think I'm at 4. No, am I at 5? I think I'm at 5. I want to say I'm at 5. No, 6. I think I've read 6.
Nice.
I'll count.
You're ahead of me.
I am a little ahead of you. I read A
Yeah.
Brightness long ago this year. Yeah, I have read some really good fantasy this year now that I think about it.
Yeah, you were kind of hating a little bit earlier. Like I didn't want to say anything, but like, ew.
I have my hater hat on tonight, I guess.
Does she even go here? That's a language of a degenerate gambler, Derry.
A 6-legged parlay.
I'm gonna lose the house soon. It's not good.
This was fun.
Bookish got the Percy Everett love, and he's like, "That's all. I just need to make sure."
He's like, "I'm out."
Got to check in on Jim. Make sure he's picking the right guy.
Yeah, lots of love for Bejeweled. I'm loving to see this, and Books with Genghis Khan says that the sci-fi series, well, Kozagon, I need to continue practicing, is so easy to get into. I found the first 2 Cordelia books, Shards of Honor and Beret, are so gripping. They're definitely the best place to start. Okay, well, differing opinions. That's cool. And we're going on to the next question, which is favorite romance or fictional crush?
Easy.
Oh,
Viga from The Devils, if I'm saying it correct. Vigga. Viga. It's not close. She's good. She's fun. Fun character.
gosh, I really should have prepared for this question.
You didn't pick one, did you?
I didn't.
I used to not, but you know, you got to embrace it a little bit.
Oh, no. The first year that I did this tag, I had the best answer, I thought, which was Iron Bars from Midnight Tides.
Oh, okay.
I thought Iron Bars was hot. Like the first page I read about him, like, ooh, yes.
Okay. But I was saying maybe it's Kelhus.
Oh, well, that was not the first year I was on BookTube, though.
You know, an Antichrist. I thought maybe you might be into that a little bit. Maybe not.
That would be wow, that'd be a little scandalous to choose Kelhus. I love it.
Never mind. I was gonna make a Catholic joke, but I'll let it sit.
Oh, man.
I'll just let it simmer. Wait, Severian's not on your crush?
I don't think so.
You're like angry incel Severian? That's upsetting.
No.
You could save him. You could change him.
Kazaril, maybe? I don't know.
I could see Kaz. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
What about anybody from Ship of Magic that you wouldn't, mind going on a date with, holding hands?
Brashen's okay.
Kyle?
Oh, gosh. Kyle did remind me a little bit of my ex-boyfriend, not gonna lie, from high school. Yeah.
That's a red flag.
I know. Just like when he, yeah.
I want to spoil things so bad and ask questions, but I won't.
Yeah, Kyle. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah, I love this question though. I love this question. Tell us more about your fictional crush again from The Devils, though.
I just think she would probably like step on me, and I like a test of fortitude and of strength, and I think that Viga would provide that. I think it'd be a competition, and that sounds interesting to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now you need to read The Devils so you can realize how absurd of a pick that is.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking about how you've talked about the first time that you met your wife, Mrs. Nuts, that she was like bench pressing 130 pounds or something.
She was benching 135 and then she squatted 185 pounds. And I said, I'm going to marry her. And then I did.
There you go. That was immediately what came to my mind when you said that. So cool. All right.
I think she would step. Oh, The Devils is so good. Oh.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, Jimmy, because I know a lot of people have been mixed about it, but
no, you don't need to worry about that. You just read it. You'll like it.
Okay. Next question is newest favorite character.
This one's easy. Maris of Amberley from Windhaven. It's the main character. I think she's one of the best female protagonists of all time. And I think it's just beautifully written. It's wow. Yeah, this was another easy one for me.
So was that Lisa Tuttle's influence? Well, George R. R. Martin writes excellent female characters too, though.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And honestly, Maris of Amberley is also just a nod to Roger Zelazny, which is awesome because Amberley, Books of Amber. Like, yeah, I'm assuming George does that a lot in his writings. And I'm sure Lisa Tell is also a fan of Roger Zelazny. So,
yes.
but just stuck with me a lot. I talked to Bookborn in messages about it, and we both were just like, this is like a great female lead. Like
Oh, wow.
this is how you do it. Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to Santa Fe at the end of the summer. Maybe I'll run into George.
If you do, tell him I said hi.
I will.
He's a big fan of the channel.
I will. I will tell him that he should consider being a guest on Chatting with Nuts. So there you go.
Yeah, he's a little shy. You know, we talk, but it's hard to get him on camera. He's collecting trains and things.
Understood.
Yeah. What about you? What's your newest, favoriteest, most bestest character?
I think this is a little tricky for me. I think I'm going to go with Wintro from Live Ship Traders so far.
Okay.
I'm halfway through Live Ship Traders. I'm halfway through, like literally halfway through Mad Ship right now.
Okay.
But I want to adopt Wintro.
Somebody should.
I know. I feel for him so much. I feel for that character so much. So I don't know. I've deeply attached myself to him. I've deeply attached myself to a lot of the characters in that series, but he's the one that comes to mind as new to me and that I've greatly, I think he's the one I would choose.
Yeah, there's so much to say about like characters where they begin and where they end in that trilogy.
Oh, I know. That's what I should be cautious
excited
about that.
Well, no, not even that. I'm just saying I'm just excited to see you go with these characters over these next two books. I think it'll be really enjoyable to hear your thoughts.
Oh, wow. I'm so curious to see where that's going to go. Yikes. Yes, so that's a great character in my opinion. Let's see. So Jarek from Moorcock's Dancers at the End of Time. I have
Dancers at the End of Time is a killer title.
It is. It is.
Wow.
I know you read the first Elric novel, Elric of Melniboné. Have you read any further Elric novels since then, or just?
I haven't, and I probably should because I was so enamored with the world. I really just loved it. I would like to get. So here's what happens: like I'll read something, especially like older fantasy, and then I will get so many comments saying, "Oh no, stop reading that and read Hawkwood or read this, and then go back." And then I almost get like paralysis by analysis, and I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of just locked in on Elric, but apparently I have to read all the Eternal Champion stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll get to it someday. And now it's been on the back burner for a year and a half, which is unfortunate because I really loved that first novel.
Yeah, I love that novel too. Honestly, that might be my favorite Elric so far. I've only read 6 of them, but it might
be only 6?
Oh, there are a lot. There are several more I haven't read. I wasn't as crazy about the last one I read, to be honest. Okay. And so I kind of fell off the Elric train for a while, but I need to get back on. And yeah, Sam Vimes is a great character. So
yeah. I think Vimes would have been my runner-up to Maris. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great character. Sadly, he doesn't show up as much in the second book. I'll just go ahead and warn you.
What? Really?
Not as much.
Oh. What's the point? That's so disappointing.
It's still a great book. I think you'll still love it. I think you'll love the second book.
Oh, I'm so glad I would have been so upset had I went into that book thinking I was going to get a ton of Sam. He's
there. He's in it, but not as much as you would hope.
Do we get a good amount of Carrot?
Yes.
Okay, I like Carrot.
I love Carrot. Oh, Carrot is such a great
Carrot's fantastic. Then.
Yes.
Alan says you're lying.
I need to get back into that series so badly. This is like the second talk I've had recently where I'm like, oh man, I really enjoyed Discworld, and I need to get back.
I think I said this in my wrap up, but like finishing Guards, even though I liked like Mort better and Reaper Man, it was just like knowing that this is like a fictional place that I can go visit at like many different places and times with characters, and there's to me, I don't know why, but that feels like something I can like rely on, and I like that.
Yeah. I could see that for sure. I really need to carve out more time in my reading this year to just enjoy what I want to enjoy. I feel like I've overcommitted with too many things recently.
I
Um,
haven't really overcommitted, but I had a bunch of commits in a row, if that makes sense, like 3 or 4 in a row, and then that has kind of derailed me a little bit. But it's all good. We got time,
it's all
hopefully.
good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, for sure. All right. So where are we in the questions now? So that was newest favorite character. Well, this is an easy answer for me, but
Yeah, it's easy. Bluest
go ahead.
Eyes. Bluest Eyes by Toni Morrison. I made a whole video.
Oh, that book is so heavy. That is the
Yeah.
heaviest book.
I made a whole video about it. If you want to know how I feel about it, go watch it because no one did. So go check it out.
Everybody who's here probably watched it, and it was
Probably, yeah.
phenomenal. You all, seriously, if you haven't watched the Bluest Eye review that Jimmy did, please watch it. It doesn't spoil anything, and it was so personal. You were so well spoken. You caught the theme so perfectly. That's an incredible book. That's one of those books that I feel like I don't talk about enough, considering how impactful it was. I will say though that book was so hard to pick up. I never wanted to pick that. I never wanted to pick up the book when I was reading it because it was so heavy. It was
I
so
think I
heavy.
read it in like 2 or 3 days, but I had
Oh,
a really long flight.
yeah.
So I just sat on a plane. There's something about me reading on a plane. I always end up reading books that make me tear up on a plane, and then I feel like a weirdo. I'm sniffling with my Bose headphones on, eating free pretzels.
Mm.
It's just embarrassing.
Oh
I'm
gosh,
34.
that book is so heavy. It is so heavy.
Mm.
I actually did a structured read along on the Fireside Discord for that last year, where we just read little sections a day and then talked about
Cool.
it. And that was actually one of the better read alongs, Discord read alongs that we've had, because we got to explore it in depth and talk about her prose and Morrison's prose. I mean, I've only read one Morrison book, but isn't her prose phenomenal?
Oh
Just
yeah,
incredible writer.
I thought the writing was cool. I also just loved her author note, which is like what made me make that
Yeah.
video, because she's so critical of herself in it that I thought that shows like some real character to her. Though there are times where I hear her talk about the craft of writing and I get a little nauseated by it, like almost like a writing being like a spiritual thing. I get it, like I get that, but like at the same time, it's like, all right, like waxing poetically about it, and I don't know, but yes, I do think her writing's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I got my mom to read it and she loved it. She wanted to go back and reread it. So I need to get to Beloved at some point for sure. But my choice, I already kind of mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, but The Ugly Cover makes its appearance again. Remains of the Day. This book had me crying so hard at the end. I messaged Jimmy and I right away, as soon as I finished it, I said, I cried.
Yeah, it's I think it's worthy of tears.
It is. It is. It really got to me. Yeah, I was so moved by it. So yeah, that definitely affected me. Last year it was the Bone Clocks, and this year was Remains of the Day.
Hey, to Jimmy Rex,
That's true.
I will make you feel bad about yourself one way or another.
You're honestly
My specialty.
Really good recommendations, though. Really fantastic recommendations. Oh my gosh. So Fireside Discord, Jimmy is reading Blind Sight right now.
Oh,
And
everyone's gonna hate it. It's fine. I like it.
I'm
but
liking it. I am liking it.
okay,
I'm almost
good.
halfway through it.
Okay, good. I think it's gnarly. I like it a lot. I know Evie hated it. She one-starred it and said it was dog shit, but I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, I've been kind of scared to look at the Discord, to be honest, because everybody started to rant. But honestly, I've been in a huge reading slump the last month, and
Me
this
too.
book has been. I'm not feeling it with this book. I'm not feeling the
Good.
slump that is with this book. Like
Good.
I find myself intrigued every time I pick it up. I'm like, oh, and I feel like Peter Watts's book writing is really interesting because he does go into a lot of scientific jargon, a lot of physics terms
Oh,
and
he's a bright guy.
biological
Yeah.
terms. Yeah.
Do you feel any connection between that and Baker, like Kellis and the whole idea of consciousness and stuff? Because I in my mind, those books are like linked.
I could see that. I could see that for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a different exploration of consciousness in a way. I haven't finished yet, but I do feel like it has some pretty dark things to say about the human condition
Oh,
for
he's not an optimist. He has a bunch of speeches, I guess, or talks where he talks about like climate and stuff. He's a doomer, dude.
sure.
To the point where I'm like, dude, maybe lighten up a little bit. Which is why I'm saying that's pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah. It has been a little bit of a challenging read, but I'm curious. Like it's pulling me along. It has my curiosity, and I
Awesome.
like the psychological conversations that are happening here and there in the book. So
Yeah, more people I know have not liked it, but the people who like it really, really, really like it. Like if it
nice.
clicks, it clicks.
Yes. Oh, okay. Book that made you happy.
Easy. Devils.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I said in my review, I was like, I know that there are plenty of opinions. I don't care about any of them other than my own. I had a great time. I read it in isolation. I didn't look at other people's opinions until I was done. Like I had a great time. It was exactly what I needed at the time. I feel like it's like the last book I read where I was just genuinely enjoying every single part of it. And yeah, it's awesome. Like one of my favorite authors wrote another book, and I thought he did a great job. And it was different enough for me to enjoy it a bunch. And I laughed and was very entertained. It was
That's
great.
exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yay. I'm going to go with The Passion According to GH, the cockroach book.
Oh, Joanna. That book was ass. That book was ass. I've had colonoscopies that were more enjoyable than that book.
I'm kidding, by the way.
Thank God.
But actually, to be honest with you, it did end in a very cathartic way.
Well, I bet it did. Did they crush the cockroach? Was that it? They got it fumigated? Is that the end?
Spoiler alert, she eats the cockroach.
What? Oh, I've heard of eating the frog. I've never heard of eating the cockroach.
She has a spiritual experience eating the cockroach. So it was actually really good. I really liked
I'm
it.
glad you enjoyed it, Joanna.
I did.
Yeah,
I
Wall of
don't know that
Storms
it
though. Wall of Storms no
necessarily
good, but the cockroach eating, that's where
it was
that's where
wild. It was a weird book. It was so
there's
strange.
engineering in Wall of Storms. I don't like it. This book has cockroaches that people eat. It's so cool. Like, what are we doing here?
I actually just said that answer just for Alan.
He already
um,
turned it off. He
I
already.
think maybe my answer though would be I guess maybe I'll go with Penrick's Demon because that book it's just charming. Like I said, I don't think that Bujold's humor makes me laugh out loud. It's not that kind of humor for me, but it made me smile. It was endearing. It was heartfelt. I can't come up with a better answer right now, so I'm going to go with that.
I think that's suitable. You're much like me. I don't think we read many books that make us happy. If I had to pick another one, it'd probably be Guards again. Like that would be another runner up.
Mm.
Windhaven made me happy in the sense that I found like another gem that I loved, but it was a sad book mostly. So
Oh, well, I'm actually reading a graphic novel right now, and that's called
what is it?
Nimona.
Hmm.
Nimona. Let me see. Nimona.
Pneumonia?
No, Nimona. Let me see if I
Pneumonia.
can pull up the cover. She's a shapeshifter. I'm trying to see if I can figure this out because I'm reading it on Kindle Unlimited. So let me bring up the cover. So that's Nimona.
Okay.
And I'm reading it on Kindle Unlimited, and it's really cute, and it's so fun, and it's like the perfect palate cleanser, and it's certainly making me happy. I'm not finished with it yet, but that would be a perfect answer for palate cleanser, lighthearted, fun. It's cute. It's super cute. So I'm
Awesome.
enjoying that. Yes.
Very cool.
Yes. There is room for happiness. Oh, let's get to the comment section here. Oh, I did not know Nimona was an animation, that it was animated. Oh, it does say, I think it does say something about that here.
Oh, that's cool.
It said it was on Netflix, I guess. It says it won the National Book Award too. That's pretty cool.
Netflix just released a stat that said 50% of all their viewers watch animation.
Really? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that.
Like it's definitely it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like people are willing to sit down as adults and watch things that are animated and not feel ridiculed, I think.
Ah, I see. Oh yes, the devils. That's great. And Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I did start I think you saw my message about this recently. I started the audiobook of this.
You DNF'd it, right?
I DNF'd it, yes, because I'm just terrible at audiobooks lately, especially lately. Lately, I've just really struggled with audiobooks. They've been really
That's not
hit
what
and
you
miss.
said to me. You said when you messaged me, you said it was because the fans are so small-minded and don't read good book.
No,
That's
I didn't.
oh, we're live? I defended everybody. I said, Joanna, that's very mean. And you were like, you said, screw them and screw Ken Liu. And I was like, wow. I was like, calm down, Joanna. Eh.
I'm not that snobby. I know Alan wants to believe I am, but no.
We're getting there. We're
Goodness,
getting there.
you're teaming up with him. No, I started it and I love the beginning of Dungeon Crawler Carl because I love the right away we get this internal conflict of this guy who's been am I spoiling the first couple of minutes of an audiobook? I don't know. But
The
he's
premise
basically
is awesome. I think the premise is the selling point for me.
yeah. Well, I found it really interesting to start out with. There was a really interesting conflict with the cat and with his situation, and then the whole entire dungeon scenario appearing pretty interesting. So I do want to get back to it at some point, but I don't think I could do it via audio because I don't know. My mind just has a block, especially with a lot of action and stuff. For some reason, I feel like I will do better if I immersion read it.
Yeah, and
At
then
least
if you immersion read, you can just skip the achievement parts and the book would be much better.
oh, for real?
I thought after like the 13th one, I was like, okay, dear God Almighty, I don't want to hear any of these ever again.
Oh no! Yikes!
Yeah, so if you're physically reading, you can just skip on past all that.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, Princess Donut. I guess that's the cat's name.
Oh yeah, Princess Donut's awesome. Yeah,
I'm excited to get to know the Princess Donut character because I love cats.
yeah, I
We're
love cats.
in the process of getting a new cat, everybody.
A beautiful cat.
Possibly tomorrow. Oh.
Fingers crossed for you.
I tried to talk. I tried to talk my husband into naming the cat Gruntle, but it turns out the cat isn't that a great name? It turns out that the cat is a female, so sadly that won't work. But it was a good idea. Let's see. Going on to the next question. The most beautiful book that you've bought or received so far?
Yeah, this is probably the question that I was like, well, whatever. For me, any of the Broken Binding Malazan books I received or the Ocenards, I don't even know if that was this year. Like, I can't remember if that was this year, but I also have gotten some of the sub press stuff. Oh, I did get the Folio Fire and Blood. That was also very nice. So I don't know. Pick one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely would put the Malazan books on that list. I'm pretty sure that was this year. I could be wrong.
I mean, it felt like it was, so I went by vibes.
We'll go with that. Yeah. So Malazan books. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And I also received Philip's book, and Tori's book too. I have those two on my shelf. But yeah, those are really beautiful. I should have probably taken them off the shelf. I'm sorry.
I can't remember if Way of a Dan's Broken Binding edition was this
yeah.
year, but if it was, I bought it.
This year.
I actually love that edition.
I know where that is, so I'm going to grab it really quickly.
Yeah, I there's something about it that I really enjoy.
Stunning, absolutely stunning. I mean,
pretty cool.
Goodness, the artwork in here. I know Brian from BellTube showed this off in his video. This was his choice, and I'm like, that's the best choice. But for real, that's so gorgeous. I actually have this as a screensaver on my iPad right now.
that looks like a scene from like a Star Wars ripoff.
That's what my husband said.
From like the 80s. Yeah, like that's.
Well, he didn't say ripoff. He didn't say it as negatively as you did, but he said it looks like Star Wars.
Well, I didn't mean it negatively, Joanna. Jeez, Liz. I mean, let's not put words in my mouth. Okay, I would never do that to you. Ever. I would never. I didn't do that on the stream already.
No, not at all. Goodness. What about you all? What were some books that you all enjoyed that were beautiful that you received? Yes, for sure. Philip's new book is pretty. I would get it, but honestly, my shelves are a little messy. I need to. It would take me a while to find it.
Oh, Mountain in the Sea cover. I guess standard cover is actually pretty cool. I would agree.
Oh, I have that book. Yes. Are you still reading it, by the way?
I finished it. I finished it.
What did you think?
I liked it. I liked it quite a bit.
Yay!
I think I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, like towards
Mm,
the end. But I think if you kind of just look at it as a whole, it's a pretty great sci-fi book.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Nice. All right. And then the last question is what books do you need to read by the end of the year?
I got a couple on here, and I'm not saying I'm going to get to all of them, but Boy's Life by Robert McCammon, Lonesome Dove, Mage's Blood by David Hare, and I Who Have Never Known Men. Those are if I could get to those and get these done with, I would be very happy. Lonesome Dove, I'll be honest, is probably the biggest risk on this
Mhm.
list because it's so big. And I'm reading the Rune Lords books. If I like book one, I'm going to continue on to book two next month. So like those are going to take up a lot of my time. I'm obviously really excited for the Will of the Many sequel. Even, I think it comes out in like November. So that's kind of exciting. So that, all those are probably it. I definitely will read at least one more Percival Everett book this year for sure. I would love to do a Discworld book and a Percival Everett book. Like if I could add those in, I'd be really happy.
That's great.
What about you? You have all these commitments. What are they? Let me
I
hear
know,
them.
and I'm probably going to blank on half of them. I'm sorry, but I know I need to continue with Book of the New Sun. So that's definitely a commitment
For sure.
for the next half. And then what else? I'm going to be reading Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. Hopefully
That's my
soon.
favorite one of the series, actually.
Nice. Yes, I've heard a lot of people love that one. Mad Ship, as Derry said, I need to finish Mad Ship. I'm halfway through Derry, and I don't know why I'm struggling. I've just been struggling lately. I think it was so I read it. I started it last month. I've been reading it for over a month. I started it while reading Claw of the Conciliator with a chapter a day, and I think the combination of those two books didn't work for me. Like, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I've been enjoying Mad Ship like a lot, but I think my brain, after reading Claw of the Conciliator, couldn't quite adjust to Hob. I don't know what it is about that combination. Just didn't work for my brain for some reason. But I'm going to get back to it. I have to finish Blindsight right now. So it's been taking me more time than usual. But I do want to finish Live Ship Traders this year. And I want to read No Life Forsaken, as we mentioned.
Oh,
Yes, and I feel like oh yes, and Laura from Laura Blake, I should say, and I are planning to read Mary Stewart's The Crystal Cave. And so I feel the worst. I'm so terrible about getting back. I need to get back to Laura about that. So there are several reading plans in the works that I need to get to.
yeah, I feel like there's other stuff that I've committed to that I'm forgetting right now. Like I'm pretty sure there's something in October I'm supposed to read, but I can't remember at this point. So
Yes, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
oh, I'm reading Shards of Earth with Jordan Levitt next in August. I'm pumped for that. I'm so
Whoa.
pumped. Yeah, I'm really excited because I basically it was pitched to me as like Mass Effect, and I love Mass Effect, the video games. I think it's like the best video game story ever, maybe. So I'm reading Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky with Jordan Levitt. That'll be great. I'm really
That's
looking forward to it.
cool. Nice.
Yeah, I just remember I was like, I know I have another thing like coming up soon, and that was it. Yeah,
I think
put that on.
I saw him mention that because I watched his mid-year freakout tag.
Yeah,
He mentioned that buddy read. That's cool.
yeah, it's gonna be really cool.
And by the way, he loved Lonesome. Oh, spoiler alert for his video. Lonesome Dove might have made his video. I love that book so much, Jimmy. With the exception of the very, very end, I do have some conflicted feelings about, but I just can't imagine you not loving that book. I cannot imagine. It does have a slow start, so just be warned about that. It takes its time at the beginning, but you love slow books, so
I do. I'm nervous though because like so many people like it's so hyped at this point that I feel like those expectations are there now. I'm sure I'll love it though. I'm sure I will.
Yeah,
I'll say this: if I don't read it this year, it's number one priority for 2026. If I don't get it this year, I gotta get away from these chunky books though. Like I gotta do it. I gotta get away.
I know. I know the feeling. Yeah. But it's so good. And then the other one, I Who Have Never Known Men. Yay. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that. Please let me know. And you also mentioned, oh gosh, there was one other one you mentioned that I've read. Oh,
Not me.
Boy's Life.
Yeah, Boy's Life. Yeah. Oh, You
really
read
good.
that?
Boy's Life. Yes. I read it a couple of years ago.
Well, how do I not remember this?
I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah. I think maybe because the reason you probably haven't heard of it is I really liked it a lot. I think that, uh, gosh, Richard Swan, is that the author's name? No, who's the author's name?
No. Robert McCammon.
Robert McCannon. I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. Yeah, Robert McCannon, really talented author. And I can certainly see the comparisons made to Stephen King. In some ways, I wonder if McCammon might be a more talented writer. I don't know if that's controversial
Possible.
to say or not, but I think it's an excellent book. I think the reason why you don't remember that I read it is because as much as I loved it and I thought it was really well done, excellent writing, thorough all the way through, loved what it went for. I think you'd love it. I think you'd love it, honestly. I just didn't feel like a favorite for me. It didn't speak to me personally. I mean, it's Boy's Life, but it just didn't speak to me as much on a personal level as much
So
as
you
I
feel
loved
like people who love it are reasonably like considered bad people?
it. No, did I say that?
Yeah,
Goodness.
that's what I heard.
Ah, I'm losing. I'm losing tonight, you all. So, yeah, I do think that you'd love it, though. I really do think you'd love it.
Yeah, I have very high hopes for it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. And then catching up in the chat, Tom is reading Howling Dark, hopefully this month. It seems like a lot, there's like this huge slew of people who are reading this series right now. All of a sudden, it's interesting. Just this new wave, I guess.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
pretty
popular
cool.
on BookTube.
It is popular. Yeah. And then Jerry says the Sparrow. I have the Sparrow. I need to get that at some
Yeah,
point.
it was good. I like Sparrow.
Cool. And are you going to continue the duology?
I actually started book 2 and got like 10% in and realized that I didn't really want to be reading it at the time. So yes, but I don't know when.
And then yes.
Oh, Song of Ice and Fire. I'd love to try it.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. I think you'd
I think I
like it.
would too.
That's
I
the
wish,
feeling I
as
have.
long as it has like a boisterous king, at the beginning or something. Like that would be good.
Yes. Finally going to read Game of Thrones after first reading good things about it in 2005 and waiting for George R. R. Martin to finish it ever since. I'm glad that you're going to read it. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I do too.
And then Janny Wirtz is going to be reading Obsidian, Empire of Silence, Sordanian, and finishing Weird Woods, 2 sequels.
Oh, you know what that just reminded me of? Something for no reason that I left off there. A book I would love to get to this year that I don't think I'm going to get to is The God in the Woods. It's like a literary fiction where like somebody gets rich. I think it's like a rich family's kid gets murdered at summer camp, and it's all about like classism and stuff. It sounded gnarly, but I just saw wood and it like triggered my brain to remember that. Sorry.
That sounds vaguely familiar, that title. I have
It's
the
pretty
cover
popular.
on the head. I think I've seen the cover before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll read Earth at the New Sun.
Nice. All right, so we'll go on from here. Sorry, I'm again late in the chat here. It looks like David entered the chat. Jimmy, for a quick palate cleanser, you should read Oh dear.
Nope.
I don't think
No,
that's
sir.
I don't think he's
I'm
serious.
good.
Okay, and then going on to the next question. Is this the last question? Are we on the last question? Let's see.
That was the last question, right?
Yeah, that is the last question.
Yeah.
We finished the tag. Oh,
We did
it. We did it.
In 93 minutes.
Wow.
World record.
That is a world record.
New achievement.
It took like 3 hours, I think, last year, but or 2 episodes. Stretch it over 2 nights.
Really milking it, huh? Just really.
Oh, so fantastic. Well, I'm really excited about all these reads that we're talking about. And I'm really glad that you were able to join me for this, Jimmy. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me. I like this tag quite a bit, like I said, but I haven't done the tag video on my channel in probably 2 or 3 years. And I think the live is kind of fun because you get to see, and people always leave comments, which I love, but like seeing it in real time is pretty cool to see people answering. Is nice. So I like this quite a bit.
It's great to see you all in the chat. Thank you all so much for sharing your answers. And if you're catching this on the replay, we would love to see your answers in the comment section below. So with that said, thank you all again for being here. and have a great rest of your evening. Bye bye. And great rest of your 2025.